we are now. We're on.
Oh, Jake, man, we've hit the big time.
I think you've hit rock bottom.
I'm sure it can get a lot worse.
You're saying that this at the beginning.
Well, you know, it's how you start, isn't it? You're like, you know, where you end up, and maybe I should let you sit on the end in case you wanted to
run.
You know, now you're stuck in
Is
the
this
middle.
the body of someone that runs? I can waddle at speed.
That's like, I was watching this comedian once. I was at a function, and he was talking about skiing, and he was a big boy. And he's like, I went skiing. He's like, do I look like skiing? He goes, yeah, man. I'm a downhill skier. I'm built. Like, gravity is my friend. Like, I was fast.
Yeah.
He goes, but I couldn't stop. You know, just
That's what trees are for.
That's what trees. Yeah. It's all that. Well, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. This is a little bit of a different episode. It follows on, Jake. It follows on from the episode we did 2 weeks ago. We haven't published yet.
The two prior. Oh yeah, we haven't.
Right? No, because I'm waiting on some footage for one of the other products. Well, we've been going into the gun laws in Victoria.
Yep.
We started off
this?
having a conversation. I'm about to introduce you.
Oh, okay.
I'm the cleaner.
And
Customers. Why are you bringing customers up here?
that's right. And then,
Let me
well,
hide
actually, funny enough, Jeff is a customer. Jeff from Fisheries.
Shooters, Fishers and Farmers.
Farmers, SFF.
Yep. It's a mouthful.
How long have you been around in
politics?
Yeah.
Well, in politics, I've been here 11 and a half years as an elected representative.
Yeah.
But as a shooter, I'm now 59. I started shooting when I was 12.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
Yeah.
That was the legal.
Well, no, back when I was.
Back
didn't
then,
matter.
sorry, didn't matter.
Yeah, I did it on the farm.
Did it on the farm.
By the time I was 13, I was shooting guns, riding motorbikes and driving cars all on my own.
Yeah.
Try doing that now.
Yeah. Well, we get
They still
close.
do it. You just see them on the news pulled over though.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah,
It happens out in the western suburbs. Not.
Yeah, but no, we don't promote that.
No, we don't promote that at all. And thank you. Like, I mean, it's actually the timing of this has worked really well because obviously we've gone through the rapid review, and now we've got legislation kind of before Parliament. But I mean, we always like to just chat a little first, don't we? Jake's actually catching up. This is the required reading I sent to him 2 weeks ago. I said, get familiar with this.
I'm just brushing up.
Look, better late than never.
I first met Jeff. You came to my house.
That's right.
For an annealer.
The ugly annealer.
The ugly annealer.
Still using it.
Fantastic.
It's a great little bit of equipment.
So, not only are you a representative of our interests in Parliament, you're actually actively involved in the sport.
I haven't been to the rifle range at Little River since, what day is it? Monday.
Yeah.
Since Monday.
Today's Thursday.
Thursday, since Monday.
So 4 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love shooting. I love my shooting. It's my happy place.
Yeah.
I go there to relax.
Yeah.
You might wonder why you go to somewhere that's really noisy to relax, but I do.
Yeah. Well, I can understand that.
And I own an indeterminate amount of firearms. More than one, less than 1,000, just in case Richard Willingham's watching. But I've been a shooter since we came to Victoria, 1980, basically.
Yeah.
And I've loved it. It's shaped my life. It's, in fact, here I am. I've even gone through being a police officer in Victoria, done all sorts of things.
Yep.
But shooting led me into Parliament.
In a good way.
Yeah, not before Parliament to be hung or anything like that. But as a elected representative. Yeah.
And I reckon it's a good story because you don't often get a lot of, I feel, politicians that actually get involved because it's their passion as well.
Yeah.
They're trying to protect what it is that we have. We had a great conversation on the phone the other day leading up to this, and I said I hate how politics is a profession.
Yes, so do I.
Yeah, you get no subject matter experts talking about subjects they know nothing on, and what we saw in New South Wales on Christmas Eve was an excellent example of that.
It was a travesty of justice. It was a travesty of just everything.
It was just disgusting.
My wife is Jewish.
Yep.
And my late mother-in-law obviously was Jewish.
Yep.
And we sat there and watched that all, not necessarily the shooting go down, but the reporting go down.
Yeah.
And I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
As far as the repercussions. But one of the things I did notice is the Jewish people we talked to, none of them were blaming shooters. They were all blaming the problem with what allowed someone who shouldn't have had a legal firearm.
Yeah.
The breakdown of the system that's there to protect us.
Yeah.
And unfortunately in New South Wales, that was completely ignored. and Premier Minns, I've stopped calling him rude names now, but Premier Minns panicked and put through a bunch of legislation that cannot possibly do anything to make the public safer.
Well, and it hasn't. There's been over 24 documented criminal shootings within that period, none with legal firearms. You've seen firearms with someone hanging an AK-47 or whatever it was, some
I'm not
automatic
allowed one.
rifle out of a car,
I saw that,
shooting,
eh?
right?
Yeah.
Shooting, I know.
That was nuts.
And none of that is legal.
No.
But yet there's no talk about it. There's nothing.
Oh, a quick
There's
segment
no
on the
shock.
news for 2 minutes, and then next
Yeah.
day, new day.
But this is also the nature of the problem. There's no easy fix for the gang stuff that goes on. There's no like that and it's fixed. But what they can do is stand up in front of people, hand over their heart and go, well, we've taken guns off the street by making a cap in New South Wales of 4. Well, they're not taking any guns off the street. They're
No.
taking them off the law-abiding people that have done nothing wrong. So it's a quick fix, it's a political quick fix, and it's exactly what I'm in there to fight.
Yeah, and I personally am really thankful you are. Okay. There's been a rapid rise, and I think you can trace it back to pretty much Bondi and the federal response and the New South Wales Parliament response. There seems to, and maybe it was just the event, the catalyst and the hate that was, and people finally saying, no, enough of this shit.
Yep.
There's been a huge rise in One Nation since then.
Yeah.
Okay? And we know from our customer base, a lot of our customers are on the One Nation bandwagon. They've set up their head office 2 doors.
Yep.
2 rows
So
down
I
from
believe,
us.
yep.
We should have filmed outside there. That would have been interesting.
I don't know who would throw something at me first. The lefties going past or the One Nation people. I'm not in a hurry to find out either.
But look, a lot of them are seeing it as the magic pill. You know, I see it as there's a lot of discontent in the voter base, and no major party is giving an alternative, real stance. And and we've seen it before with the rise of the Democrat movement, with the keep the bastards honest campaign and all that type of stuff.
Until they turned into the Greens.
Until they turned into the Greens. But if we're talking about our interests as a group, you guys have been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Look, and we can't forget that.
We've also had the guys in New South Wales. The first one got elected in 1995.
Yeah.
Just prior to Port Arthur. I think there was a short break when no one was in, but at some point in time, effectively we're talking 30-something years of having representation. I've been here 11 and a half, coming up to 12 years.
Yeah.
I can honestly say with my hand on my heart, I'm the only person and the only party, because I'm the only person from the party, that has consistently never ever backed down from a fight with firearms and taken every opportunity I can to improve our lot. Now, we have all these friends in the major parties that they're all our friends right up until it comes time to do something.
Yeah.
And then we have other minor parties, which basically they don't dislike us, but they won't step up to the plate.
Yeah.
But I got involved in politics because of shooting.
Yep.
Ironically, it was in the time the Liberals were in power in Victoria, that very short window.
Yep.
They changed regulations around reloading powder, and you had to the gun shop had to take your details and put it in a register.
Yep.
And I asked the gun shop, what do they do with the register? They said, nothing, it just sits there.
Exactly.
And I said, well, that's rubbish. And anyway, cut a long story short, they won the argument. I gave them my driver's license, rang a friend who's a dealer, and said, what's this crap? And he said, well, it's change. And it occurred to me then, it just went like literally a light bulb went off, they're never going to stop. And I rang the guys in New South Wales and said, what can I do to get the party started down here?
Yeah.
Anyway, cut another long story short, I flew up there to make sure that they weren't some bunch of radical meatheads. They were doing the same to me.
Yep.
So anyway, they blessed me, sent me back to Victoria.
Yep.
With basically very little help, and said, go and get it done.
Yep.
And cut a longer story short, I got it done.
Yeah.
But I will never back down from a fight. We win some, we lose some.
Yeah.
But there will always, when we lose, there's always these big scratch marks down the table. And part of what I do is I prove to the career politicians and the established bureaucrats, I'm not a crackpot. I'm an ex-copper.
Yeah.
I'm now a family man.
Yeah.
I come from a military family. I'm very, very middle of the road.
Yeah.
I'm as nationalistic and patriotic as any person, but not to the point where I want to exclude other groups, as long as they toe the line, as in we don't have, how should I put it, some of the problems you see in some areas in Sydney. I'm trying to be very, very circumspect
Look,
they're the minority.
it's a topic that everyone is talking about, the issues they have in certain parts of Sydney as
Yeah.
well, right? Because there's a lot of discontent. There seems to be a lot of us versus them, hate, a lot of stuff coming out of districts and it's not being. And I think that's where the rise of One Nation's really come from as well.
People are afraid.
People are afraid. People are
Nothing's
afraid,
been done.
and no
Yeah.
one is doing anything about
Yep.
it, right?
Yep.
And that's where that type of populist party really who keeps entering a scene. Now, I'm going to put it on record, and you don't need to. There's a lot of stuff that I align with the message of One Nation in terms of the cost of living is ridiculous.
Absolutely.
There doesn't seem to be any good solutions about it. We're not putting Australians first in terms of that. We're not protecting the younger generation. I have kids who are, 23, 21, and Jack's about to turn 18. I don't know how they're going to move out, but I really want them to at some point, right? So the message, and so I think some of the policies, especially since Barnaby has been there, have been solid in terms of that. Okay.
Yeah.
I do not align with their rhetoric of painting Muslims and immigrants all with the one brush.
No.
I find that disgusting myself.
I will make a couple of comments.
Yep.
Being a military brat,
Yep.
I lived in Malaysia as a kid. I lived in an Asian Muslim country.
Yep.
Asian Muslims looked after me. I'm not afraid of Muslims. I'm not afraid of Asians.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of multiculturalism.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid, but I'm afraid of bad people.
Yes.
Every culture has bad people.
It does.
I'm not interested in where you come from and all that sort of stuff. And I've got news for every white person in this country. We're immigrants. Somewhere down the line, we were immigrants.
Correct. Yep.
Whilst I'm all about one Australia, I'm not into the division of recent immigrants, old immigrants like us. You get into the First Nations thing, there's a complete and utter quagmire of nuances through that.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm not even going down that path, but I just see us all as Australians. And that's what I really wish we did.
Yeah, correct.
And we get onto getting into the Firearms Amendment Bill for 2026. There's a citizenship thing there.
Yeah.
I will try and make an amendment to that because I look at that. If you can be as a police officer in Victoria and get to the Special Operations Group where they'll give you machine guns and all that sort of shit, or you can join the military where they'll give you a howitzer or, not the Apaches anymore, but whatever they use, an Apache gunship. Why can't you have a recreational shooter's licence? Those requirements need to be in lockstep or else it's just wrong.
Well, and I think that the broader bit of this too, there are countries where you can't have dual citizenship.
No.
Where you have to actually give up your home country, and some people can't do that because of financial ties, ancestral ties, all that other type of thing too, right? But they might have been living here for 60 years.
Well, there's also problems with, I won't go into the countries, but there's a major player in the world that we've got a lot of immigrants from over here, that where people are either not giving up, or not even becoming dual citizenships, they're becoming permanent residents, because if they become a citizen, then they have problems going back to their country to go and see their parents, their family and things like that. It's not necessarily something that we're doing wrong, but it's the reality of living in this global village rubbish. But some of the village is not pleasant to the rest of the world.
We'll deep dive into a little bit more. There's a few things in this. So this is the Firearms Amendment Bill 2006. The brief. 26?
20 years off the...
26?
Yeah.
I'm turning 50 this weekend, man. I'm like, I'm living as much in the past as I can.
Don't look to me for sympathy. I'm 59.
Well, and we'll go through some of this because this is pretty relevant to what we want to talk about. But I want to put you at ease one thing. We were talking on the phone and you said, Ben, sometimes the words that come out of my mouth may not be appropriate in terms of language. We're all fucking cunts here, mate, and we're all fucking good friends, and whatever the fuck you want to say,
I'll fucking say it.
Right, good. Now we've got that out of the way, okay?
Cool.
Excellent.
We've busted it.
We busted it. I don't want you to be anything
I'm
except
pretending to be a respected member of the Parliamentary Society.
Okay.
I've got to
no one
not
respects
swear.
parliamentary
that's
people.
A good point.
And you're not in a suit. You're not. Don't you be you, man.
Well, this is me getting dressed up because I was in trackies and a t-shirt before I came.
I really appreciate that. It's great.
I do what I can.
All right, before we get into this, I want to hear your view of as much as you can, of after Bondi, rapid review is announced.
Yes.
Ken Lay, former
Chief Commissioner.
Was he one of your bosses at the time?
No,
when you were in okay.
No, my boss was Neil Comrie.
Okay, all right. Former Chief Commissioner. Is a sports shooter too, though, I believe.
I don't know, but I've heard that.
I did also hear from Warrigal you've sat your safety test twice, apparently, that for a handgun licence, and I'm wondering when you're coming back.
There's no secrets in this.
Anyway,
the first one expired, for anyone wondering, and the second one has been sitting in registry in LRD since February.
Oh, so you've submitted it?
Yeah, I've put all my paperwork in.
They were concerned it was going to expire again.
No. I put all my paperwork in, and I've got to say, just like everyone else, I'm waiting.
Anyway, okay. So, rapid review.
Yep.
I saw the optics of that. I saw that as of the government didn't really want to do anything right away. Let's put it to a review. I actually thought it was going to be a longer review and it was going to push out to pass the election because no one wanted to do with it, right? That's what I was hoping too, right? But I saw that as it's a review. It's better than making a decision and saying yes.
Yeah.
The questionnaire came out. You know, we had a fair bit to do with the response in our part of the industry, and none of it gave a risk case and then said, this is what we want the outcome to be, right? So a lot of our response was, what is it you're trying to achieve? There was just questions, right?
Yeah.
From inside the halls.
About the same. I had a one-on-one. It was my staff with over Zoom with Ken.
Yep.
And I felt that we were heard. Other people I talked to from the associations felt they were heard.
Yep.
And weren't we surprised when the results came out?
Oh shit, I was.
I don't know. I had and have, I suppose, more respect for Ken Lay than that review would suggest. I was surprised. I don't know how anyone who heard it, even just our side of the whole thing, could think that capping the number of firearms that a lawful, law-abiding person can own would do anything except piss off about 220,000 people.
Do you think the wording of it was more around, I mean, because it did state from my reading of it that there was no evidence to prove either way, but because this is what National Cabinet came up with, that's probably what we should suggest.
In the end, you can justify it all you want.
Yeah, I know.
There was no justification.
No,
shit.
It was shit.
If you're safe enough to own one firearm, you're safe enough to own as many as you can safely store under the current regulations. That's it. That's as far as I'm concerned. Yep. Whether it's 1 or 1,000, if you've passed as you know, every firearm we buy is okayed by the police.
Correct.
So it's not like we can just walk in there and walk out today with a whole bunch of rifles.
Yep.
Every single one gets okay.
Yep.
So if the police had any concerns with a person, that's how they deal with it.
And I've had it before where I've had multiple 223s because of my line of work.
Yep.
And I needed another one because the barrel's going out.
Yep.
And we don't have like for like down here they do in Queensland,
no.
which we need to, really.
Yeah.
And so does New South Wales.
I'd be happy with that because when I get bored with a gun, I can I like that 308 over there. I'll swap it over.
So for those who aren't watching, who don't realise, like for like in Queensland is if you've got a 308 or a particular calibre, you can swap that for another one without having to get another permit, which to me makes all the sense in the world.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
That's unreal.
Yeah. So
Great.
it is. It's unreal because it's like, well, you've already been approved for one. You're not adding.
As long as you're giving and taking at the same time.
It's like for like, right? It makes no sense why we have to go through a re-permit system. But anyway, so I think I had 3 223s at the time, and then I put in her for another one. And they actually called me up to put in another one for. I said, come on, look at my licence.
Yeah.
On my harvester. You know, it's what I do. So they were like, yeah, no, cool. You're going to retire one of the other ones. You know, so we already have those checks and balances in the system.
That's right.
If they think we already have.
And that number 3 is a policy. It's not in regulations. It's not in legislation.
No, it's not.
And look, it irritates me because as much as anything, I like firearms. Yep. And sometimes you end up with a run of 3 of a certain calibre. Very different firearms. And you want to get another one.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, you collect stamps or something like that. No. You get a certain print of this, a certain print of that, and then suddenly you go, oh, well, there's another one. Yeah. Not all 308s are created equal. Using that as an example, or 223s.
Yeah.
My current 223s are a Tikka Varmina with a 1 in 7 or 1 in 8 twist. It only shoots 77 grain or heavier bullets. It took me a long time to figure that out.
Yep.
But if I wanted to go out and buy one for shooting rabbits, then I would have to go another one. But then if I wanted to, say, go pig shooting,
Yeah.
and I want
It's
something a bit
different.
smaller, then suddenly you've got three of the same
Same caliber.
caliber.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, and there's a legitimate reason for it.
Look, there is, and there's so many nuances around it too. It's like, you get a multi-barrel system, you register the first barrel, and you can buy barrels off the
I've got
off
a
the shelf.
CZ457. I can change it to 22 rimfire, 22 Magnum, or 17
I've
HMR. Just
got a blaster that can run
yeah.
17 to
Well,
whatever.
I'm only a peasant politician. I've only got a little rimfire. For
Well,
that sort of stuff.
I have to test stuff because it's my job.
Yeah.
So I have to test blasters.
However you justify it, you keep it up.
That's how this whole business kind of started, mate. It's but you're right. Like, I mean, it's even that the permit system to me is a little bit archaic, because it's like we've been approved for a license, which means we've already been approved for firearms. As long as they're registered to us, doesn't really. What is that?
I've made my views on firearms registries known before, and I'm not afraid to say it again.
Yep.
A firearms registry does not solve a crime and does not prevent a crime. All it does is provides a government for a mechanism to take guns from you, whether you've done something wrong, which is we can get on that, or they change the laws on you.
Yeah.
Because they know how much you've got, and so legally.
Yep.
And so if they say you've got a cap of 10 and you've got 30, well, we're having 20. Which 20 are you giving us? And here's your list. And that's basically it. So you're either safe or you're not.
Yeah, I 100% agree. With that, it's when you're talking about risk analysis and risk, safety. Because again, once we hit 15, different security changes, requirements, all that type of stuff change. So there's a lot of those nuances that to me that don't make sense either. And then we've got permits that start of the year will take us 2.5 hours to get, and then mid-year they take us 4 weeks. It's
the registry is starved of people.
Yeah.
Now I will say it on the record, our registry, as bad and as frustrating as it can be at times, is by far the best in the country.
I would agree.
By far.
No, I would agree. Working with the people we know inside registry and who support gun shops, they are fantastic.
Yep.
I cannot fault them.
Most of their problem is resourcing.
Yeah.
And that's why it gets frustrating. Like, I put my handgun license in February.
Yeah.
It's now somewhere through June.
Yeah.
And
can't pull the strings.
No.
Can't go down.
I probably could, but I think, ironically, I think that's wrong. It's sometimes I do stupid things, but I feel right now I'm a member of Parliament. Before this, I was a nobody. Still a nobody. But after this, I'll be a nobody. I don't feel I am entitled to that. I'll just wait with everyone else.
I'm the same.
It's a bit screwed up, if you know what I mean.
I'm the same. Unless it's the first shipment of a thermal that we really want to sell, then I expect to have the whole lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I have been in times as well when people are, and I'm like, no,
I will go into bat for other people where I won't go into bat for myself, and it's just. It makes me sound nobler than I am.
No,
I'm really just
what separates you from being a career politician to someone who's got a passion for being where they are and just generally a good person. Okay.
No, don't say that last bit. I've got an image to maintain.
I'm trying. Sorry. I know we don't do edits. I'll edit that for you, mate.
Thank you.
Okay, so rapid review comes back. We're all gobsmacked by this whole 4-gun suggested cap.
Yeah.
But to the credit of those, I guess, who worked behind the scenes between when that review hit Parliament and when it became to public, the government chose to support everything except that.
Well, there's also nuances and everything. There's also as there's a lot of things that the Premier, Jacinda Ardern, does that we don't like.
Yep.
But she did the right thing on this, because in the end, I won't say it's a captain's call, but if she had have gone with the rapid review, we would be stuffed.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that.
Yep.
But what's helped her, I guess, is the rest of us behind the scenes. I've spent 12 years proving that we're not nutcases. There's organisations and associations and all sorts of things in there quite regularly talking to the government, showing we're just normal people that enjoy a very, very normal pastime.
Yeah.
And that doing this sort of crap is going to be completely and utterly pointless.
And it was good to see some duck protesters actually being charged this year as well.
Yeah.
That never happens, does it?
Well, this is my favourite subject. I might warm up a little bit. Well, for a long time, the GMA, you can't direct them what to do. No politician or bureaucrat's going to stand there in the field and say, you do this, you do this.
Yep.
But they give them a direction.
Yeah.
And for a long time, the protesters were getting away with so much.
Yes.
And then recently I've noticed a fundamental shift,
Yep.
and everyone is getting equal treatment. If you're a shooter, a duck hunter, I should say, if you're still using lead and you get busted, no sympathy. It's been 30 years.
Yeah.
You can have your opinions on whether it's more or less effective than steel or whatever, but the law is the law.
Is the law. Yeah.
But that's basically the majority of what people are getting done for, and from our side, is that.
Yep.
But then you get the protesters that are rocking up and they're just getting done as well as.
Yeah.
Instead of just moved on or whatever.
Yeah.
Before it was just us. And basically, if you're lucky, they'd get a banning notice. Now they're not just getting banning notices, they're getting fines.
I feel since, and again, I 100% agree with you, there's a lot of things I really don't like about the Labor government, but I feel that since Jacinta's actually taken over, the language has changed a little bit towards hunters in terms
It's changed
of
a lot.
we've got more access coming to,
Yep.
we've got...
Deer hunting. Deer hunting has grown exponentially.
It has. We've got the new body that's now called
Fishing,
hunting and outdoors. So
yeah.
hunting is
FOV.
is now actually front and centre in part of that,
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
The language to me hasn't seemed to be a knee jerk because the election's coming up. It seems to be consistent since she's been and again, there's so much about this government. It almost makes me sick just to say these things out of my mouth. But
I'm used to saying half truths and skirting around stuff in this job.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to say nice things about this government.
Yeah.
And there is so much I can criticise them on.
Yeah.
But if you look at what we're here to talk about today,
Correct.
what can I complain about?
Yeah.
And that can change in an instant. Jacinta is here today. She might be gone tomorrow, and we don't know who will take over. We've just got to be careful.
It's looking at the numbers. It's fair to say we'll have a change of government later this year. We hope.
We're going to get really into the weeds
No,
here.
but
we may not.
Okay. I want to run the assumptions we do.
Okay.
And let's assume that Liberals come back to power.
Yep.
And again, I can live in fantasy land because it might be one nation, it could be whoever, right? But let's assume it was the Liberals come back to power. If between now and then Jacinta gets stabbed,
Politically, not literally.
not stabbed, but gets removed from power. Someone comes in and decides, no, we're going to implement this 4-gun cap, which I think would be political suicide for them regardless.
We'd make it our best to make sure.
Are the Liberals in our corner?
When the Bondi thing first started, after the initial attack,
Yep.
the leader of the opposition stood up and said she wanted Jacinta Allen to recall Parliament and she'll support any and all legislation to do with this.
Yep.
And they were already talking about gun control reform.
And they did it in New South Wales.
They did it in New South Wales.
They absolutely screwed us, but I think they did that to screw the Greens at the same time.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But my point being is, I don't trust them.
Yeah.
I used to be a Liberal voter until 1996. Anyone that's a shooter that remembers 1996 will know why I don't vote them and never voted for them since.
Yep.
Except for the last federal election because we had a teal and I wanted to get rid of her. But even so, even that made me feel bad.
Yep.
But let me put it to you this way: the Shadow Environment Minister from Brighton wants to ban duck hunting. So a Liberal from Brighton wants to ban duck hunting in all of Victoria. That sort of stuff makes me nervous.
Yeah.
In the upper house,
that's because they're in Brighton, though.
I'm happy to ban duck hunting in Brighton if he wants.
No, but I'm saying if the Shadow Environment Minister lived in Sale, I don't think you'd have one that wants to ban duck hunting.
Because people would throw things at him, rotten tomatoes if they were lucky.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly right.
No,
but he's competing against the Greens. He's competing against.
No one's censured him.
Yeah.
We also have in the upper house. I'm not going to name him, but one of the Liberal frontbenchers is vocal anti-hunting.
Yeah.
Vocal anti-hunting, not just duck hunting, hunting. Full stop.
Yeah. And again, you can see why why little parties like becoming batch parties as well.
Like them or low them, One Nation present an opportunity for people for something they don't know what One Nation may or may not do, but they do know what Liberal and Labor will do, and they're not happy.
I think One Nation, though, one thing they've proven over the years is they've been very consistent with their language.
Yes. Consistency is a godsend in this thing. At least you know roughly what you're getting.
Yeah. And as much as I disagree with the anti Muslim side of things, I think they're communicating it poorly. I think what they mean is we hate
radicals. Basically, yeah.
Correct, right?
Yeah.
And they've got to stop painting everyone with the same brush. There was a really good, I'll send it to you later, there was a really good interview on CNN about 15 years ago with a guy named Razi. He's a professor. Anyway, he's an amazing guy. And the two journalists try to set him up, calling Muslims all terrorists and blah blah. And he's like, you guys listening to yourself? He's like, you're talking about, and they things like, but aren't Muslims like, into things like, female genital mutilation? He goes, no, that's an African problem.
It's a cultural problem, not a religious problem.
Exactly, right. And I think what they need to distinguish better is it's a religious issue, not a cultural one. Because I don't know anyone, and I know a lot of Muslims as well. I don't know a single one of them who would prescribe to the values of the people that had in Bondi, right?
No, of course not. They may not like Israel. They may not even like Jews, but they accept that, like everyone else in this country, we've come here to have a quiet life.
Yeah, and we're fallible. We're humans.
Yeah. If you don't like someone, ignore them.
Exactly right.
That's how I get through politics. To be honest,
I can imagine.
If I don't like someone, I just don't bother. But I don't sit there and argue with them. I can have a chat with animal justice because we just don't talk about the stuff we don't disagree on, or that we do disagree on, I should say. Because sometimes our paths cross a little bit on what we may or may not want.
Correct. And sometimes you might agree on this area strongly and you disagree over here.
Disagree on everything else, but yeah.
On everything, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually surprised you haven't talked to them. I hope you take them out for a good steak at lunchtime. Or a cat burger.
No, I don't want to. I talk to them. I don't go out for lunch with them. I can assure you of that.
Oh, it must be a challenging environment to be in when you've got people who are just lunatics.
They're not our enemies. The major parties are our enemies. They're just another little bunch. They call us crackpots, but they're a bunch of crackpots having a go for what they believe in, and you got to give them that. They're wrong, completely and utterly wrong, but they're having a go.
I understand and I 100%, people should have the right to believe what they want to be, but it should also be founded in a little bit of reality, and they're just off their fucking head. I'm
trying to find a way to disagree with you.
The idea that you can sterilise deer, and that's the problem to deer being overpopulated.
Yes. Sterilise them with a 308. That's how I deal with it.
I've never found a deer to be able to breed again once I've hit him with my 308. Not once.
No.
Not at all. It is 100% guaranteed that if we get them right, they can never breed again.
On that quickly, when I was at the most recent land care meeting down at Minion, there was a bloke there, and I was sitting with a group of harvesters. We piped up a bit about some deer stuff, invasive species council were there. And yeah, it was there was a bloke there who had spent 14 months, I think. Pretty sure it was around 14 months. And thousands of dollars to trap deer.
Yeah.
To trap and relocate the deer. Which he did successfully.
Yeah. To a freezer?
No, they moved them
to someone else.
To another property.
Makes their property. Yeah. Someone else's problem.
Yeah. And put it into private property instead of government land. Yeah.
And he had his lecture about it all. And
I've trapped deer before and then shot them.
Yeah, you trap them with a bullet.
Yeah. Well, the deer pest thing is actually an ongoing education thing for me, and I'm educating them. I don't know how many times I have to say it. If you make deer a pest, you can shoot less of them.
Yeah.
You can't hunt pests in national parks, and you can hunt game in some national parks. You can't hunt pests with dogs.
Yeah.
You can't hound hunt with pests.
Yeah.
There's all these things. And the big thing is, a lot of farmers don't understand. They can shoot a deer, subject to minimum caliber, any day they like, any day or night or whatever, as long as they kill the bloody thing. But at the moment, the government is responsible for managing deer.
Yes.
If it becomes a pest, the farmer becomes responsible for managing deer.
Correct.
And they have to pay for it. They have to deal with it. And if they don't, they get a fine. So it's actually counterproductive. And that's where the Invasive Species Council they're basically just taking the piss out of the whole thing. Because they know, because they've been up in the gallery listening to me, and apparently
the confrontation we caused with them that night.
But it's ideology. I think land care are a very different beast. Without getting into details, I think they've been calling for them to be a pest because no one sat down and explained to them why it would not even work for them.
Yeah.
A lot of farmers have no idea they have a free-for-all with deer.
They do, but when I was talking to GMA on this subject, as long as they're identifying them as pests because they're still game on private land and GMA have got governance over them on private land.
But the only deer that there's any restriction on is hog deer.
No, but what I mean by that is if you come up to my block.
Yep.
And I've got a lot of bush on there, right?
Yep.
And you come up stalking.
Is that an invite?
you know where I live. You've been there, right?
It's been a while.
We've got a
but
beautiful
anyway,
creek down the bottom and
Yep.
stuff like that. And if you come up there as a recreational stalker,
Yep.
you have to have a game licence,
Yes.
right? Even on private property.
Yes.
That's not pest control.
Yes and no. Farmer doesn't need a game licence.
No, farmer doesn't, but someone coming on
That's
has
right.
if they come on to stalk, that's not pest control, right?
That's actually getting down to...
If they come on to do pest control while stalking, that is pest control.
Yeah, but I agree with you, but you're getting down to nuances.
Oh, we are.
But
And this is the
but-
problem. I said with GMA, I said, you guys have to come and have a chat. We've got to do a night with GMA because a lot of people don't understand this.
Yeah.
And you know, not that I think they'd ever step on private property and force anyone issues.
They've got enough to do as it is.
Exactly,
I mean,
yeah.
maybe the new FOV or whatever the hell it's going to be
Yep.
will get them a little more a pool of people to draw from.
Yeah.
But I think they'll also find fisheries will want to draw from GMA, and then whoever else they're all trying to do in the middle of a cutback season. They're all trying to get more money out of more resources. But I've forgotten where I was going with that. But on private property, it's if you don't have a game license, this is they say deer are protected because you need a game license.
Except on private property, yeah.
But we'll just say you need a game license. Full stop.
Yep.
And okay, take that away. You still need a shooter's license.
Yeah, correct.
So you still need a license.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, a game license is a control mechanism. If you're a bad boy or girl, or in between, you can get your game license taken from you. So it's actually us paying to go hunting deer, and not willingly, but we are controllable. If you take all that away, Joe Blow can just go in there with his 223 and start shooting up sandbar deer, and just say, "Oh well, I didn't know any better." Well, he's never had to sit a test.
But do you think the other thing too, though, is the game licence has, in this instance of firearms reform, has also helped protect us because the revenue involved in the actual licensing?
The revenue is pretty small, but I think what it does is because I'm ascribing a motive to them now, but they can say we do have a control mechanism over deer hunters, and that is the game license.
Yeah.
Again, if you're a farmer, it doesn't matter, but if I don't know, it's saying if we take away that, then what you're saying is you're taking away one level of control. 99.999% of people with a game license do nothing wrong, and the other 0.0001 are usually duck protesters, but that's another story. But it just shows that we are a heavily regulated cohort of society.
Oh, we are.
And it's another. It's a lot easier to get a game license. You just got to pay for one.
Yes.
Oh, you got to do a test now.
No, I know it's worse.
Irritating.
That was a pretty big test too.
Yeah. I did it. I did it as a.
No test at my place.
I don't have a game license, so
No, I've got
a
one.
harvester's license.
I got my. I did my duck wit recently, and then had to renew my game license, and it's all online.
Yeah.
And I won't say it's hideous, but you can't just flick and do it. You got to actually read it.
I heard it's a little above. They're like,
It's another thing of saying that we aren't just a bunch of slack-jawed drooling morons with firearms. You do actually have to pay attention. You do actually have to pass.
we have to better read. A lot of people think, as a gun owner, we don't know how to read.
You'll be amazed how many people can't read English, but they can read the native language.
Correct.
But they're just safe.
The other thing to it's like people being shocked when the figures came out in New South Wales of how many guns were in suburban areas.
Yeah.
And people are like, why do people need guns in suburban areas? Because
that's where I live.
It's right. Because we go to rural properties. Do you want us to store them remotely that are in
Yeah.
unmonitored situations? It's like
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
My place is like Fort Knox for the guns. I live in suburbia.
Yep.
And honestly, if you didn't know if you didn't know what I did for a job, I suppose, but didn't know I had firearms, you wouldn't know in my place.
Yeah.
Because all my stuff is safely locked away in areas that are just not easy to get to.
Yeah, but that's the way it should be too.
And alarm.
It should be, well, when you're over, 14, it's got to be.
I never ever confirm or deny that.
You just put an alarm in if you're, safe.
Well, I do.
Yeah.
Actually, I usually, even if I had no firearms at all, I'd still use an alarm. In this day and age, taking away the fact that if someone steals them, they may use to hurt someone, they may do all sorts of things in the black market. It's my friggin' property.
Yeah.
I don't want some prick stealing it. It's like my TV. It's like my beautiful purple car. And I don't want some prick stealing it.
Funny enough, we've got on our property, we've got a 2-section alarm. I probably shouldn't say this, but it's always on in the area where my firearms are kept. It may not always be on in the house. It's like,
I met my wife at the pistol range at Springvale, so I don't have a problem with her being a shooter.
Right.
So
my
story.
wife said we're never going to sell guns. Yeah, now she's
now
she's
owns
our
the place.
operation. Yeah, she owns a lot of guns, you
Yeah.
know, as well. All right. So between this comes out, we got another 4-gun cap. There's no back legislation yet.
There's nothing has changed for us at all.
No.
It's this is what's called a bill,
Yeah.
which is before it becomes an act.
An act, yeah.
Yeah, we're getting to how Parliament works.
Yeah.
But a bill is a proposal, for want of a better term.
Yep.
This is what they propose to do. Every government gets it through the Assembly, the lower house.
Yep.
Because that's how they form government, and they've got
Yep.
the majority. Whether
Yep.
it's a minority government or what, doesn't matter.
Yep.
So it always passes one House of Parliament.
Yep.
One of the beauties of having the crossbenchers and so on in the upper house is it's not necessarily a free kick for the
Yeah.
government of the day.
Which is what we need, guys like you in there, to be strong
Yeah.
crossbenchers
Yeah.
to be able to form those.
Well,
Interested parties
to
as
head
well.
off. As I
Yep.
said, I've got to read it again and again, the bit about citizenship, but it's got to align with the police requirements and the military requirements, or it's just wrong.
We are going to flick through a couple of little bits in this.
All right, fire away.
And-
There's a lot of stuff for dealers, which I need to talk to you guys about to see the reality of it.
There's stuff for dealers in some of it's absolute crap. Like I haven't read the whole thing around dealers except around the citizenships, okay?
Yeah.
And they make a couple of interesting points in here that seem to really contradict themselves, and they're trying to
Welcome to politics.
frame their argument about citizenship as also non-discrimination at the same time. Right now, as an employer, if I wasn't under this
Yep.
proposal, right, and Jake is from a country I didn't want to employ him from, and I said, nah, fuck off, I don't want you Aussie whiteys here, right? He could go and launch a case against me,
Yep.
rightly so, for not, or even in advertisement, if I said you have to be an Australian citizen,
Yes.
right, I can't legally,
That's right.
all I can say is you have to have working rights.
Yep.
You have the right to work, right? This bill for dealers puts us in a position that actually contravenes those laws, because it says a dealer's license can be cancelled if we employ non-citizens.
Yeah. You see that part there, human rights issues. There's always a
correct.
human rights component to every bill that comes forward to Parliament.
Yep.
You'd think there'd be a protection from those sorts of things. Sometimes what it says about human rights is, yes, this will trample over human rights. Next page. And that's kind of it. And that's kind of what this will say.
Yeah,
But-
but that's why the Greens abstained from voting in New South Wales,
right.
because they took it to the High Court about the anti-protesting laws, which they said
Yeah.
was human rights, and they won in the High Court on that, right? So I don't know, legally, enforceably, this is going to be, but so
Well, the biggest problem is, I'll say one thing about taking something to the High Court is not a cheap enterprise. And that's why governments all over the place with stuff that tramples over people's rights.
Yeah.
The High Court just doesn't sit there and think, I've got nothing to do today, I'm going to look into this. They get stuff that comes to them, but if no one comes to them, then they'll never get onto it.
Yeah. Now, this is kind of split into two bits. I want to see if this was the bit that I want to quickly read. No, it's this bit here, okay. So when we're talking about citizenship requirements of holding a licence under the Firearms Act, Part 6 of the bill deals with the new citizen requirement for holding the firearms. And what was the actual wording on it?
In the car, I've actually got a copy of the bill, but that's another story. It's no use being in the
we
car.
we can photocopy that and put that up, as well.
It's online anyway.
I've missed up my pages, but it says in here permanent resident, but there is a you can pass the commission can pass you on a test in terms of it's a part of employment,
Yep.
right, like police and so on. Yep. But the wording for me that is really worrying is if you're not an exempt person from this, your license has to be cancelled.
Well, they haven't dealt with that. There's no grandfathering clause in that.
I know. And that to me is a real concern, especially, again, when you go back to threat profile. My dad doesn't have a gun licence, but he's been here since he was 18 years old. He's 78.
Yeah. Well, let's say you've come over from a country last week, or a country with not much of an infrastructure of government.
Yeah.
And you go through all your things in 2 years to become a citizen. You can get a shooter's licence. The government can still not do any more checks on before you got here. And you've got 2 years to prove yourself, but the ability of Interpol and things to look and organisations to look at some of the African countries.
Yeah.
Again, I have no problems with Africans. A lot of them are good people minding their own business. But you go and try and do a background check on someone that's come from a poor little village there and has come here as a refugee, you're going to get nothing.
No, but that goes back to this though. If you have been here, I think it's less than 10 years, you have to have, and you've got to get it yourself, a criminal background check provided by the police or the authority in that country.
Well, which goes back to what I say.
Legislation's already in place for this.
You could be a model citizen here, and they'll still tell you to bugger off.
Yeah, correct. Right. This and part of their reasoning for citizenship is because allegiance.
Yep.
And that doesn't hold much value to me when you see people killing people anyway.
Well, I've got to also point out that one of the shooters in Bondi was born in Australia.
Correct. I know.
This whole thing is ridiculous.
Yeah, we've had other high-profile cases recently of Desi Freeman.
Yeah.
You know, we have it all the time. Whereas
bad people are bad people. It doesn't matter where they come from.
Bad people are bad people. That's you know, you are going. Your experience is going to be dictated by what you bring to it. You know,
absolutely.
If you're a horrible person, that's what you're going to have. So they're talking about that, and again, I really think this is. I would prefer the bar to be permanent resident, because I think you've established enough in terms of grounding here to be a permanent resident over a transient resident who could leave stuff here unattended and disappear.
But a permanent resident can join the police or the military.
I agree.
So why can't they have a shooter's license? Just on that alone.
Just on that alone.
Yeah. So again, how can you give someone a helicopter gunship and say you can't have a 22 bolt action to shoot rabbits? It's just ridiculous.
Well, to me, I think that is so short-sighted. It's not funny, and again, doesn't deal with the risk profile that we have today. Because
which is anyone, to be honest.
Which is correct, right? But when you talk about legal firearms, and the biggest, one of the things that really gets me in this is like, we're not dealing with the underlying problems of violence in society, which are alcohol, drugs, kitchen knives, fists, domestic violence against women predominantly, right? Why the fuck aren't we having that conversation as loud as we're having this one?
Because this is a bill that we can sit here and put in front of people and say we've done something. Now that something is useless, pointless, doesn't attend to any of the problems you've talked to.
It doesn't.
Socioeconomic problems, even in America. Do they have a gun problem? No, they have a socioeconomic problem that manifests itself through firearms.
Yeah.
There's 30,000 people or so, I mean, this is old data, but the breakup is roughly the same. 30,000 people or so killed in America every year with firearms.
Yeah.
About 19 to 20,000 of them are suicides.
Yeah.
First of all, that's not really, that's not a public safety problem.
No.
Then there's about 7,000 that are lawful self-defence, including police.
Yep.
And then you start getting into the what's left,
Yep.
and you start doing that as a proportion of 330 million people. Yep. It's not nearly as bad as it seems. And most of their real serious violence is very localised in the bigger cities.
Yeah.
You still can't, I've been to America a number of times, you still just got to keep your wits about you. But the only place I've ever felt really unsafe in America is California, which is funny, got the strongest laws, close to here as you can get.
I actually felt really unsafe in Florida. Like, I used to work for Lockheed Martin, so I'd go to Florida a bit. Okay. And there was a particular one-way street that I kept getting looped around in a city, and you'd go down there, and there's a train line. And it was the first time I'd driven cars where the doors automatically lock on you as well. I'm like, this is a safe place to be.
Carjacking lock, yeah.
And then it was like Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
Like, it was like,
I've never had the pleasure of that, but
it was like it was just people sitting outside drinking from there, and I'm like, I know how this story ends.
Yeah. You pull your hat down a little lower and just drive on. But everywhere, I mean, there's parts of Melbourne that are pretty well no better than that.
You know where I feel safest walking around at any time of night? It's Hong Kong.
Yes.
Tokyo. Yeah, Tokyo.
Yeah.
Pretty much any Asian country. I feel incredibly safe all the time.
Bangkok's pretty safe because everyone's too bloody hot to do anything. Anyway, it's another story.
So I've got a real problem with this. Can we fight this bit still?
We can try,
Yep.
and I will.
Yeah.
I feel as I said, if you can be a policeman and you can be in the military, you've got to be able to have a recreational shooter's license.
Yep.
And they're not going to change. I mean, we've got a problem with not enough people joining the police and the military.
Yeah.
No one's going to tighten up the standards for that.
Yeah.
But then it's got to be logical.
It has to be, and they haven't really dealt with the human rights issue in this too. They say it's a problem, and they think it'll be okay, but it's not okay.
It's a government. Human rights are generally an afterthought. Yeah. It's one of those things. We have basic human rights, but because of the way legislation is framed, and you've got your statement of human rights compatibility. If it stomps on a right, then basically that statement will say it stomps on a right. Have a happy day.
Now, this is the other bit that everyone was really concerned about, is the categorisation of firearms. Now, you've probably got a little bit better insight than we do from understanding this. From what I read from what they put in here, it's a temporary measure, and if they actually make the change, they have to notify every single person. That person can apply for an exemption.
To what end is my answer? Well, what's it going to do?
What are they going to use it for? I mean, what are you temporarily going to reclassify to stop what?
Well, they can already temporarily reclassify stuff. This is why I don't even understand what it's doing there. I haven't had the time yet to talk to the police minister's office. But the chief commissioner can already temporarily reclassify anything to anything. The Vernie Curran speed line. When it came in was a category B. They temporarily reclassified it to I think it was a C or a D, it doesn't matter. Through a lot of consultation and work and meetings and all that, we managed to get that classification to lapse. They can do it now. I don't understand what that is there for. There is something I can't see that is making it different to what they can do now. Because right now, my view is, in 1996 they built a framework. And they said semi-automatics are this, pump actions are this, blah, 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 blah. Now, whether I like them or not, and I'm not a fan of these interrupted semi-automatics, but they're interrupted. They don't work as a semi-automatic. They're a lever release, button release, call them what you want, but you have to do an action before it'll fire again.
Correct.
And can they shoot fast? Yeah, what's fast? But have you ever seen the Mad Minute with a Lee Enfield? They shoot just as fast.
Exactly right. It's like it's like banning straight pulls versus a bolt action. I can cycle a bolt action very, very quickly. It's not.
They've had straight pulls at least since the Ross rifle in World War One.
And it's still a two-part movement. But a lever.
It's still, you're either safe to have a firearm or you're not.
I honestly agree.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
If you're safe to have one firearm, if you're safe to have a bolt action 308, then you're bloody well safe to have a straight pull 308. Or a lever release.
The one thing that I saw, or that I was happy to read in the review, was actually about licensing length, and basically saying what's the point of changing it?
But one of the things that they said that we had to get rid of perpetual licensing. Well, my answer to that was, well, before this, can I get a perpetual license that they can grandfather? Because I'm sick of every 4 years having to go through all this. There's no such thing. I don't think there's any such thing in Australia.
You still have to renew.
But right? I don't think there was any such thing in Australia.
There was not. It's not a tick and flick. You've still got to confirm what you've got. You still got to have your genuine reason. You still got to have your proof every 5 years.
In Victoria, I presume the other states, but in Victoria, if you have an interaction with the police, other than just like a speeding ticket or whatever, but you have an interaction with the police where they look you up on their system. It used to be called Leap. I think it's called Leader now. But they type it in, your name, and they go, Jeff Bourman, blah, 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 date of birth. Yeah, this is his MNI number. Oh, firearms involvement. So look at that. Oh, he's got a shooter's license. Well, he's just been a right royal prick running around drunk and trying to punch on with everyone. I think we'll call for a review.
Done.
Yeah, and that's how it should be.
I was saying to Jake at this point, we get a lot of people. Can you go pick my guns up from the police station? Where's the authority? I'm actually surprised the number of people that have, and this is the system working, right? This is the system where an AVO has been put in place. I've done something stupid. There's been a few cases. It's this isn't real.
Yeah, there's some of the AVO stuff that is tactical. By the aggrieved party.
I know.
And I find that extremely irritating. And I've seen it work on both sexes. I've seen, I have a female friend who's had it done against her by her ex-partner. And it turned out to be nothing. It was easy enough to fight. But
it's an automatic 28 days.
But they will also, the police are not in a position on the day to say, this is bullshit or this is real. And that's why they do it. I don't like it.
We had one case a while ago, and the advice from the police was to the people involved, you should contest this, because it's not right. But it's the system though.
There is a system.
It can be exploited, right? But we already have a mechanism in place that if someone does become a threat, licensing is not the catch for that, and should never have been. So to change it to 2 years in New South Wales is...
Yeah, I know. Their poor registry, and their registry, I've heard some horror stories about them.
Yeah, I know.
The New South Wales shooters and fishers spent a lot of time fighting the registry there over just poor decisions made by them.
Yeah.
Again, I do very little down here. Occasionally you see on Facebook someone whining that I didn't help them. Well, that's because they didn't ask me. And
I found our registry so responsive, and
they do the best they can, and they give us a fair go.
yeah.
I honestly think they should double their staff, but no one listens to me.
Yeah.
There's a few rough edges around the whole legislation around firearms that I would change. But on the whole, we can work with what we've got.
Yeah.
And I want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
Could be better, could be a whole lot worse.
I think it could be a whole lot worse too. And I think that the thing I think that out of all of this that gives me hope is only one state really subscribed to this,
Yes.
which was New South Wales.
And the tiny little pimple in the middle called Canberra.
Yeah, I mean,
They barely count. But they do it. They just literally they follow along on these sorts of things anyway.
They're surrounded by New South Wales. Tasmania, I don't think they wanted to, but their government system's a bit different to ours, from my understanding, in the way that kind of got. I don't know. It's a bit strange.
I feel that Tassie, and this is only from reading the media, which is a very poor way of getting information. I feel that Tassie were doing it. There's nothing to see here until after the election, and now it's after the election.
No, man, the media is always right. They did not line me up over this whole thing with One Nation.
Yeah,
having a thing about here. They stuck it in the newspaper that we were some kind of... That stuff, as far as I'm concerned, when we were talking about that was off the record. What was on the record was there's obviously a lot of discontent in here, and people, they're doing what they do well because there's discontent and people need options, and the current governments we have are shit.
Yes.
Right? And that's my consistent message the whole time. They turned that, and they said, "Oh, would you, look, before that was on the record, would you, be interested to have them?" I said, if our customers, we got a lot of One Nation supporters, want to hear from One Nation, like we would for any political party, we're happy. We're happy to host them, right? Yeah. This is probably from a firearm owner's point of view, probably one of the most important or meaningful elections we've had from.
Absolutely.
Right? So we need to talk to these people. We need to talk to yourself. We need to understand who we vote for and what the impact on our sport industry and all that. Otherwise, we're going to face New South Wales. They've rushed something through. They're indecisive. They don't know how they're going to do it. Yeah, gun shops are going out of business left, right and centre.
Well, we were lucky, as you'll be well aware, the number of people putting in PTAs for new firearms during the waiting period, we'll call it, for the review was just virtually none.
Not for us.
Well, you guys were doing well. I've had a lot of people saying that their business dried up near 70% overnight.
We did a lot of guns, didn't we?
We're still flat out.
It's not. Yeah.
So I can't hit you guys up for a good deal because you're not just selling many. Damn it, I was a bit late. Anyway.
No, we're not that. We don't. Yeah, we're not, I'm still Dutch, mate. We don't have those kind of problems. But you've got hope.
Look, if this goes through in its unamended form, we're still so far better off than New South Wales. It's not funny.
Yep.
I will still fight it. Absolutely, I will fight it. I will amend it. And even if my amendment gets up, I will still fight it.
Yeah.
Because we did nothing wrong. We will do nothing wrong on the whole. Punishing you, me and Jake for stuff that someone else did in another state that shouldn't have had a firearms licence at all.
Punishing other people for someone...
Yeah. Well,
other people's actions regardless is ridiculous.
That's the greatest abuse of human rights, no matter what the subject.
Yeah, it is. And then for them to come out months later and go, oh, yeah, it looks like it's an intelligence gap. Of
course it was.
I've got to say, your colleagues in New South Wales, I watch them a lot on YouTube and follow their Facebook. They're doing a very good job of continuing the pressure up.
Absolutely. With
the announcement of introducing repeal bills.
Repeal bill, yeah.
Now, I'm sure that they wouldn't have done that if they didn't have a plan. Like, do they have something up their sleeve?
You'd have to ask them. My view on these things is win, lose or draw. You have to go down. Again, you take scratching bark off everywhere. There is a possibility always of embarrassing the government into a backflip.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll happen.
I don't know if Minns has got the ego to do that.
No, I don't. Most of the career politicians cannot admit they're wrong.
Yeah.
They will
Which is a
equivocate
problem,
and they'll just steamroll
I
people.
would so much respect politicians if they stuck their head up, stand up, and gone, "Yeah, I've got that one wrong. Sorry about that. But this is how we're going to fix it."
I fucked it up. We'll fix it. Yeah, but
sorry.
they won't.
No, it doesn't
Well,
make. It's just
The sex victim gag laws in Victoria. We've had 3 goes at that so far, and they still won't get it. Well, I believe we'll have 4 goes, but maybe not in the rest of this parliament. They can't just say they're wrong. They'll just quietly do this and this and this and this. We'll keep on going.
okay. We'll quietly revert the gun laws, and we'll keep on going.
Yeah,
You know,
but
no
then
one
the
else has wanted
Greens and animal justice and the all the various dribble lefties around the
Even-
place
even
will go, guns in the streets, guns.
Even to form a fucking national cabinet meeting over that
Yeah,
is just an embarrassment. The things that go wrong in this country, and that was it. Like, it was a horrific event. Don't get me wrong. Like,
and it
but
was
we never
and it was
wanna
their
see
fault.
Correct. It was
Had
their.
nothing-
It was localized. It was their fault.
Yep.
It's because they don't deal with the problems in certain suburbs. That
Well, anyway,
or anywhere. Correct. Right. But they allow this shit to breed. And it can happen in. But like. I'm deplored by what happened, don't get me wrong, and the motivation behind it sickens me. But there's nothing to the problems we face of domestic violence and youth gangs running around Victoria in Melbourne, other side of it.
I think I said this before. The problem with what you're saying is you are 100% correct, but this looks like I've done something about it. Guns off the street.
Yeah, but where's our national cabinet when you've got,
Too busy getting their hair done.
13-year-olds getting knifed or, wrong guy.
Yeah.
Right? Where's the outcry? But this is why One Nation's rising so
That's
hard
right.
as well, because
Absolutely.
the outcry is coming from the public and the fucking politicians are not listening.
Career politicians. And look, in some of the major parties, there are politicians that aren't career politicians, but they're the minority.
Yeah.
They're the ones you can talk to. They're the ones I do have coffee with and all that sort of stuff. But so many of them are just drones.
Right. I'm going to ask you, we're going to deal with this. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Some of them might make you uncomfortable because they're just coming into my head and you're allowed to say, Ben, can't answer that.
Can't answer that, Ben.
Conscious votes. Should people be bound by party lines for all their votes by the cabinet?
My view is no.
Yeah.
The American system, take away everything else, the Democrats and the Republicans, if you have an issue come up, gun control,
Yep.
you have to convince the Republicans to vote for it as well as Democrats.
Yep.
Here, if gun control comes up, the Liberals will vote for it or against it or whatever.
Yep.
And if their cabinet decides to, then you do, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And if Labor say they don't want to vote for it, then you don't vote for it. You just the Libs can cross the floor, apparently without repercussions. But
No, the Nationals couldn't.
but
New South Wales. Yeah.
the discipline in the parties here is rock solid. There are some things that are conscience votes.
Yep.
Usually things like abortion and those sorts of things.
Yep.
But also I know a lot of people don't vote with their conscience. After these years of being with people, you know what they think about these issues.
Yeah.
And then they vote with what their faction, the Libs have factions, but they're personality factions.
Yeah.
What their factions are. So, look, to a degree, every vote for me is a conscience vote because I am the cabinet.
You are correct.
I'm the cabinet.
You
I'm
report yourself.
of everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We won't go into the money thing at the moment. That's
the
happening.
$15 billion down the toilet. Well, in fairness, just we'll cover this off quickly. Jeffrey Watson says he's been misrepresented on that, and I haven't looked into that because it's no matter whether it's been misrepresented, $15 billion that could have gone to something else.
Right.
And,
Okay.
and that's the problem.
Biggest question we get from our customers and Instagram and social media people
Yep.
when we put this up saying we're going to interview you. What was it, Jake?
Expresses
Can we make silencers?
There's
Suppressors?
silencers in the Act, and Hiram
I
Maxim
know.
called them silencers.
I know.
We've called them
Suppressors?
suppressors for a while. I've gone
Now-
back to calling them silencers.
They said, can they make them legal? Which for me has two problems with that question. One, they are legal, and then it sounds to me like they've got something that's illegal. But anyway,
Let's leave the last
let's
part
leave
around.
the last bit.
Yes,
Suppressors for
the law at the moment says the Chief Commissioner may issue a permit for a silencer. That's it. It's up to the discretion of the Chief Commissioner of the day.
Yes.
And then the Chief Commissioner is pretty well bound by...
The application
Whatever.
doesn't have a lot of room on it unless you're a professional hunter these days.
you have to have a
It-
valid reason to even apply for an application.
Yeah, exactly
it
right.
is effectively banned to the average person.
Yep.
Now, in 2018, I tried, in fairness, was a bit of a stunt because I knew it was never going to get through. I put up a private members bill
I remember that.
to legalise them by making them a firearm from an administrative point of view. Everyone had to have a PDA. Everything had to have a serial number and had to be stored in a cabinet.
Yep.
And they're not a firearm, they're just an accessory. But anyway, to prove that even covering off all the problems they had, it was not going to happen.
What is the resistance?
Hollywood. People are scared. People are worried that someone's going to sit over the horizon over there with a 223 and shoot me at 5 kilometres and you're not going to hear a thing.
So they don't understand that there are two noises a gun makes. One is combustion and one is supersonic bullets.
Correct.
You cannot stop the sound of a supersonic bullet.
Correct. When I was in America...
But I can shoot subsonic bullets.
Yes. When I was in America, I fired a AR-15 with a suppressor on it at a range. Yeah. Now, the people I was there with were the only people, so I took my earmuffs off and fired it and put my earmuffs back on. Now, the difference is it didn't destroy my hearing like a short-barreled 223 without a suppressor would, but it was still not, it wasn't like a little and that was it.
Yeah.
They're still recognisably a firearm.
They are. I mean, I've been legal for suppressors for a number of years now, and I went shooting in New South Wales with, hopefully he's going to be my future son-in-law, because I've got access to really good property up there.
As long as he likes friends that are politicians, I'll be right.
Oh, man. I had to remember what earmuffs were.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I love shooting with Jake, because I helped him through the process of that's how we met, in getting his suppressor and permit and things. And we like shooting together because we're nice and quiet. We don't have to worry about ear protection, right? Now, and the problem is a lot of the recreational shooters frame it the wrong way in terms of it's an OH&S thing. Well, it's not because of hearing protection. That's the argument, right?
Yeah, that's the argument they used on me.
Right. To me, the argument is it's a safety thing. Yes. Suppressors remove recoil because they're effectively a shrouded muzzle brake.
I was going to say without rupturing your eardrums like a muzzle brake. Yep.
And so when you talk about shooting offhand in the bush, animals on the move, to me, you need to have everything going for you to make an ethical kill, right? So it's also an ethical thing for me as well that people should have access to suppressors. You are still going to hear the crack of the gun. That cannot stop.
It lessens the noise. It doesn't remove the noise.
Right. There's the other side of me that's like, but I get access to so many properties as a professional shooter because, we can do it so much more.
There's no interest like self-interest, right? Is there?
No, but I would actually like to, I 100% agree. I don't understand the resistance. For me, from watching, news and criminals and how they shoot people in broad daylight, they're not going to use suppressors because they want the noise as a distraction so they can get away. Is what I see. Like
even a 9mm pistol using just regular ammo is about 1,200 feet per second. Yeah. That's above the speed of sound. That's
what does James Bond use?
I think it was a 32 or 380 little one. But you could use it would. Yeah, but no, he just used Hollywood for that.
Oh.
They still make a noise. Ironically, I was watching a thing on the reproduction Delisle carbine just before I came here.
Mm-hmm.
And
are you allowed to watch that now under federal government laws?
They can come for me. But anyway, I always believed that they were so quiet that you would only hear the sound of the striker. They're not. Even a 45 ACP, which is 900 and something feet per second, well under the speed of sound, still makes... I mean, if you're 100 metres away, you're probably not going to hear it. Yeah. If you're 100 metres away, you're pretty safe from a 45 ACP, is the other thing. But even the great big thing from the Commando era and that still made enough noise to be recognisably a firearm going off.
You want to know the best combo? Is a...
Is this legal before we go
No, it's perfectly legal because I have all the permits in place for it. Right, category Class A firearms dealer as well. We're in bazookas,
Where?
No, it's 300 blackout suppressed. Yes. Tink.
Air rifles.
Air rifles, but they don't go very far or very fast.
Well, that's the point, isn't it?
Because they're subsonic.
Yeah, but that's the point. Anything that's got any distance to it is supersonic.
No, correct. Yeah, I mean, we don't, even our harvesting, it's all supersonic and it's got to be for ethical kills. But with the population control, especially of fallow deer, wild dogs, as well, you get one shot with an unsilenced
And they're all gone.
unsuppressed.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
You can get 2 or 3 shots if you're suppressed, right?
Because they're
And
also not used to
they're
used
not.
to every firearm they hear now is a big combustion boom and supersonic crack. If it's not that, they won't be sure.
They also don't know which direction it's coming from, so they're not sure which way to go. We've had things charged towards us, not real, and we're going excellent, makes the shot shorter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we're getting follow-up shots. So it's not. I don't.
You're either safe with the firearm or not.
Correct.
And that's my view with suppressors. If you're safe enough to have a firearm, and I don't care whether it's a silenced 300 blackout that you can barely hear, or a 300 PRC that you're doing it just so you don't blow your eardrums out, you're either safe or you're not.
I was out shooting once with a mate of mine is a copper, and we were in an orchard and shooting, and there was someone who'd moved into the area, wasn't very happy about it, and they were yelling, "I'm going to call the cops." And his response was, "I'm already here."
Yeah.
You know? With the deer population out of control on private land, which is a huge problem in metro Melbourne, as well, nighttime shooting has become the most effective way to deal with it.
Yep.
We have to reduce the noise to be able to do it effectively as well.
And this circles back to about deer being a pest, and then at the moment the government can do control programs and things like that, and bring in contract shooters, recreational shooters, whatever, and some of them are suppressed, some of them are not. If the farmers, if they're a pest and the farmers have to do it, the farmers have to start paying for contract shooters. Correct. And have to start getting all the permits and along the line. And in the end, the farmers are doing it tough. The last thing we want to do is make it harder for them.
Yep.
If everyone could have suppressors, particularly on category B firearms, which are generally the louder ones, then I feel, yes, would be more effective and everyone would be a little happier, but people are scared of it.
Even Cat A for air rifles, just for dealing with the out-of-control rapid problems, as well. Because it's just
22 Z long. They're pretty quiet.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can still get
stick
them.
a muzzle on the head and they're still quieter.
But be that as it may, you're either safe with a firearm or you're not.
Yeah, and that's... And the most of what I got out of this was that, except the whole 4-gun bit, was just that it's like, man, they almost got this... I guess they had to have something to talk about. I mean,
it was disappointing.
How do you go back to your federal bosses at the end of the day if you don't at least have something gone,
That's
well,
also politics,
and then
they
still said, "Go fuck yourself."
Well, look, this is effectively we don't think you're right.
Yeah, correct.
The 4 if we asshole the 4 cap limit, then
it gives New South Wales wiggle room.
I think New South Wales are so far down the ego-driven path they can't back out.
We're going to wrap up real quick. I've got one more question. Looking at the budget in Victoria, it's not really applicable. Looking at the New South Wales budget recently and the federal budget recently, I didn't see any money allocated for buybacks.
Yeah, they'll just have to take it from somewhere. Honestly, I don't know how they're going to do it.
Policing, services.
That's just it. Something's got to give.
Something's got to give, but I didn't see...
For something that's got no public safety benefit, they're going to take a minimum of $150 million towards was it Victoria for the National Firearms Registry. We've got CrimTrack already.
Yeah,
rubbish in, rubbish out.
I know we've got CrimTrack already, but what we don't have is a way for dealers to be able to send a firearm to another state and have it tracked.
Yeah, but that's a failing of CrimTrack. They could fix CrimTrack rather than a whole new system. Anyway, but be that as it may, we have that's actually an administrative problem, not a safety problem.
Correct,
and that could be fixed.
Here's my proposal for them.
Here we go.
As a dealer, right, when we've got to send a gun to New South Wales or wherever else to make sure it works correctly, we send them to LRD. They send them to the registry in, say, New South Wales, and then the registry passes it on. I shouldn't have said that because now someone's going to think that's a good idea.
No, they're not. No, they're not. That sounds like way too much work. No, I don't want to put our LRD under any more strain.
I don't either, but someone would come up with that idea.
But look, if there's a proven public safety benefit to anything that gets done, you can hang your hat on that and say this is good. But this crap about taking firearms from the street, when you're taking money out of health, police, or national security, perhaps ASIO could use a few shekels to get their system so it'll talk to New South Wales LRD.
But they're talking in New South Wales at that time about language and hate and how language is being used against groups that incites violence or motion, let's even call it, right? And they're talking about taking, what, 250,000 guns, or no, 750,000 guns. We're going to get these guns off the streets.
There are no guns getting off the street.
You have now just used that exact same language against legal firearm owners who have done nothing wrong.
Do what I say, not do what I do.
It was disgusting.
It is.
It's just...
We are the most over-regulated portion of society. And my wife says this when some of her friends say, aren't you scared going to a rifle range? And she goes, no. Where else do you go in society where everyone has had a police check?
Yeah.
Everyone. And they've all looked and gone, oh yeah, never thought about it like that.
And you've got volunteer ROs who love that little RO badge.
They do.
And they make sure everything is safe.
The only 2 times I've ever looked, I mean, in context, this is over 40-something years of shooting. The only 2 times I've looked down the end of a firearm, thankfully both unloaded, was at a rifle range. I have once looked down the end of a firearm, but I didn't know it at the time, but that wasn't unloaded. That was as a policeman. I found that out years ago. It's another story for another day.
Yep.
But waving muzzles around, even on an empty firearm, is not good enough. And the ROs have to be rock solid on that sort of shit.
They do a good
because
job.
one day it might not be empty.
The problem with an RO too is like they have to deal with everyone's level of experience. And we all encourage people, go get a firearms license and go to a range. That's where you learn, right? So it
still spins my mind. You can get a 300 Winchester Magnum having never touched a firearm in your life.
I know. I'm an advocate for having a practical handling component.
Me too.
Of it, because you're right.
Even if it's even if they take them to a small indoor range and it's a 22, you fired a gun. You know how it all works. You're not out there in the middle of the Bunyip State Forest trying to figure out how your
I put my son through the SSAA one when he was 12, when he got his junior license, and it was great. He learned how to zero it, how to shoot from different positions, how to clean it, how to respect the firearm. It's a very good program, Now, I don't think it should become a push to be the only pathway, and the SSAA have a monopoly on it.
No, but I know a little bit about that. The whole thing was a push for an RTO to run it.
Yep.
SSAA are an RTO, but they're not the only RTO in town.
Yep.
There are ways and means. Other organisations can become RTOs if they wish. They can white label SSAA stuff, or you could use a TAFE.
Yeah.
Run a course. Obviously, you don't go shooting in the TAFE building, but they run a course there, and then they do the practical at someone's range. There's options, but it just scares me that one day someone's going to end up getting plugged in the middle of a state forest by someone
I 100%
accidentally did it because they knew no better.
Yeah, but you see shooting accidents happen
from time to time.
From time to time.
Yeah, it's not that common.
No, it's not at all. But and we do it because we run the safety course here every year. I'm a firearm safety instructor, and it's every week we run it, and it is the same thing. It is, we do the demonstration of, is this gun dangerous? If it was loaded lying on the ground with a bullet in it, is it dangerous? And everyone's like, yeah, it is. No, it's not. It's not dangerous until you interact with it, right? And you always have to remember you are the responsible one when it comes to safety. And we always encourage people, this is purely theoretical. Go get some practical experience.
Booger hook off the bang switch. That's what makes things go bang in the wrong time. Yeah. Always know where it's pointing. Keep your finger off the trigger. The usual stuff.
Correct. Yeah. Thanks, mate.
No, it's been a pleasure.
I enjoyed the chat.
Me too.
I hope our viewers have got something out of it. I hope we pressed record correctly and we captured it all. It's enlightening, man.
That's a good point.
And look, good luck for the election.
Thank you.
You'll have my vote again.
Thank you.
I can't remember the last time I didn't vote for you, and
prior to 2014, that would be about the only time. But because we weren't here.
No, correct.
Yeah.
You are the voice we need for our industry, right? For our sport, for what we do. You are the voice we need. I'm not suggesting there's not a room for One Nation's voice in the lower house to absolutely reshape the conversation on a lot of other things. I think that needs to happen.
I'd be happy to have their support. Let me put it to you that way.
Yeah, I think they would be crazy not to support you, because our values align on so many topics that
absolutely
we can do real work on. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Thanks, Jake.
My pleasure.
And good luck with the rest of this. And we'll know if it comes out best for us that you did well. If not, you fucked up, and we'll probably won't vote for you. No.
Well, no pressure.
No pressure. And it's a couple of guys are looking forward to seeing down at Warragul when you're legal. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
LRD, I'm still waiting.
All right, thanks, mate.
Alrighty, thank you.